because you know what? I was that person.
Yeah.
I struggled. I had 2 children, and I understand the struggle, and I know what it is to not have 2 ends meet. So there's no shame in that. But it's always our goal. So what I always say is, if you can't do it all, do a little. Start in little pieces, and maybe it's, you know, some ground beef. And that's why I asked you about the share program, because they're working towards a goal that would get it. So maybe you just buy your ground beef from them, and it's little bits, because everything contributes to our health. Everything. A half a mile walk is better than no walk. Correct. So,
I mean, adding to that, Shelley, that was, Carrie and I had this big conversation, especially over the holidays, of I want to give back probably more than I think our business can afford.
Definitely.
and small businesses are always asked. I mean, I probably get 100 requests, and so I've started doing a budget.
Yeah, and he's gonna have to do that for me too, because I would just totally give the freezer if I could. But we were approached by a local group around Christmas time to fill baskets. And so I did what any business does, you do the quote, and then they got back to me and said that their fundraising efforts fell a little short and that they weren't fully able to provide the protein. And I thought, absolutely not. There are people in our community that need this, truly, and because they wouldn't seek out programs that way if they didn't. And it's, you know, solo individuals, it's individuals with, you know, that are a family of 10. And I said,
And the elderly.
And the elderly.
They are skipping their protein. They're absolutely skipping it and eating canned foods. That's what they're down to, and it makes my heart sad. And that's a whole video by itself. Don't get me started. But because then you'll get me crying. I'm like, but
and that was me.
The poor Cephals are here to tell about their meat. We're going to start talking about poverty and insecurity.
No, but I mean that's a real thing too. That I think that we need to be as producers we need to be aware of.
But as you are helped, and that's one of the things, as you're helped, you can do exactly what I did. You create a 501c3, and then you can donate meat within yourself to your organization that then gives, and it's a tax write-off for your businesses. So I would be happy to talk to you about how to do that and how to form that so that you're giving from your 501c3 and not from your bank.
Well, Carrie would love that, because Melissa at Cephal Cattle Co. is like, have it all, friends, and then just give us the feedback. And Carrie's like, wait, there was a lot of money that went into that, babe. So.
And that's good, because we have to have balance. Life is about balance. Life is about balancing your table, balancing your budget, balancing your health, moderation. There's always, you know, I had someone tell me one time, you can do anything in moderation, Shelley. And I really kept that to heart, because, you know, we all have good, we have bad, there's in between, but we have to moderate what we do. So if I have my bag of chips, I make sure I eat my lettuce.
So with this new website that you guys have, which I went on, it's really, you guys did a really good job. I really like it. I think it captures the elegance of who you are, and the passion behind it. And I know that you guys have so many ideas and plans for this future, but what is your goal for your farm? And I hate to say sometimes like your 10-year goal, because I think too many people look at that goal and then they forget about all that good stuff that happens in between. But where would you guys like to see your farm? And if you're just along for the ride and enjoying the journey, I get that, because that's kind of where I'm at with my farm. I'm just taking it day by day, but
my goal is to be on the farm full time. I don't want to work outside the farm.
I respect
So I want to be on the farm.
Because you work a full-time job.
I do.
Yeah, and that's another thing. You know, so he's doing his farming and then the cattle farming, and you're doing the flower farm and helping him. So it's really like having 2 full-time jobs, correct?
It's like 3.
3, I was going to say, or 4.
Yeah, I think we have 3 or 4 between the two of us, because I'm still full-time off farm also. So.
And
There's a lot. You get a bit of dark, so that's what it is. I come in and sit down and I'm out cold.
And people don't understand that. They just see the result. They don't see the effort. I
And
see
the
the hours
highlights.
that Kaylee puts in too, and that I put in.
I'll say
Just puts
that,
in to support us
When
in
they-
all of our crazy notions.
when they see the result,
your
it's
company.
worth it.
Yeah, you're right. When they see, so like my children, when we started our farm, the first thing that I did is I got them into the 4-H, and now they're in, my daughter's in FFA. My son's graduating, so he's no longer in it. But I remember when he was at lunch one day, and he was so upset when he came home because he saw that a child threw away their cheeseburger, didn't even take a bite of it, and threw the cheeseburger away. And I just remember that moment when he came home, and I mean, he was fuming. And he was in elementary school, you know, and we're trying to teach him all of this. And I don't know, I had to pause because I realized that we were doing something right by showing that generation, our children, the importance of what it took to get that cheeseburger on their plate. And I love that, you know, there is this movement about transparency with your farm and sharing, because that's how we educate. That's how we inspire and we teach, because, I mean, I saw it firsthand. My son was he was mortified.
And if our kids don't carry on, where are we going to be, guys? We don't want to be dependent on other countries to feed us. So the American farmer, as hard as it is, I applaud you all.
Yeah.
You know,
Thank you.
we have to have the ability to feed our nation, and these are the people that are doing it. And I think it's just amazing. And I love how you've done the farm within a farm. Do you have any plans to add anything else to the layers?
We talk about it all the time.
Like butter, are you
Oh,
ever
Lord.
gonna do anything like milking? Are you gonna stay
I would
just
love
with?
to see you play with the tallow.
Yeah.
I would love
Yeah.
to
That's
see.
been really talked about.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
The tallow and the
It's the byproduct. I mean,
That's what we have.
it's our
Yeah.
byproducts, and how are we utilizing and respecting every ounce that we
Right.
produce?
Right,
So,
and what a beautiful skin line you could create.
Yes.
yeah.
With that tallow, and it's, you know, it's really doing wonders for people.
I
and-
use it daily.
Yeah, yeah, I've started using it, but I still have, I'm like, I'm putting fat on my back. It's just me, you know. I'm
Well,
like,
yeah, and
It is,
when you
right?
see it in
Yeah,
raw
I'm like,
form of where it
yeah.
comes from, you're like, okay, this here wad of where that just came from on that animal. Okay,
Yeah.
that's what
Yeah.
people are lathering up with. But
yeah, that was me. See, I overthink everything. I'm that girl. I'm like, hey, let's put some beef fat on our face.
yeah, there you go. So to back to your question of, you know, what is the 10-year goal? And your points were so valid on all of it, that we came into this and I was headstrong on what the 5-year goal was, the 10-year goal, the 20-year goal, because I knew that groups like USDA and FSA and NRCS, I knew that I would need them to reach out to help us get started because of the financial overhead.
Yes.
But I knew that they would be asking me that same question. And I really got down into what that 10-year goal was that I totally forgot to look up. And so we were talking about the other day. I mean, we moved to the farm, and Charlie, our youngest, was still in pull-ups, and she was running around in the creek beds in muck boots and pull-ups. And I was looking at pictures, and suddenly she's a kindergartner.
Yeah.
And she's a big kid. And I'm like,
reading.
she's
Yeah.
reading.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I thought, I missed it.
Yeah.
Which I was there. I mean, I filmed most of it, I feel like. But at the same time, so much into the plan of how to make it work that I forgot to look up in the right now. So we have our 10-year plan, we have our 20-year plan, and mine mirrors Carrie's of being on the farm full time, so working full time, and then helping where I can with Carrie's, you know, other ventures and the farm. It's exhausting, to be totally honest, and I try really hard to show that on social media because I do feel like it's so much of a highlight reel. You have to stay positive or else
Yeah.
people don't want to follow you.
Right.
That's the truth. But at the same time, I want to show the reality of, like, it's 10 o'clock at night and I'm in the flower field because I finally got the baby to bed and this is when I have time. And I want to be honest and transparent of what it takes to build, especially a farming entity. But so it's to be there full time, but it's also, you know, okay, our farm has been in our family for 120 years. Getting to us and to our generation, not saying that it was on the verge of being sold or that it was on the verge of being lost, but it was dying and it was falling
Yeah.
apart, and it's taking a lot to regenerate it, a lot more than I think we were really prepared
Oh,
for.
absolutely.
And I'm hoping that what we do in our lifetime on the farm is what sets its foundation for the next 100 years.
Yep.
And having that conversation with the girls of, it is totally your choice if you want to come back. I have a niece as well, and it's like, okay, family, this is what we're building. Here's our foundation. What is the next step? And having that open transition conversation now, and letting that next generation feel comfortable to come to us with that when the time comes. So we have a large age gap in our kids, but I want them both to know that yes, we've built this for them, but if they don't want it, that's okay. We're making plans.
Yeah.
And so long term, we want the farm to be a farm. And if that's what we want in 100 years from now, then we need to be doing the work now to be laying that foundation. So that's what we're really putting the hours in for now, is yes, to make it a business that's profitable for itself and it carries itself and we can be on it full time. Because putting down one job would be really nice, and the farm's not an option to put down. It's a non-negotiable for both of us. But so farming full time together in the short term is a goal, but then long term it's that, not so much like our legacy, but it's farming legacy, it's agriculture, and leaving that ground to be farmed for hopefully many generations to come.
Yeah. No, I love that.
I've gone through the similar, because this had become a dumping ground. Basically, my family had taken it and they were just putting old cars on it, and I remember the day that I came down here and cried. And I was like, what has happened? You know, this was purchased by my family in the 1850s, and it was 600 acres. And I've saved almost 100. But literally, when I'm still finding piles of trash that they would let people, would pay them to dump trash on our land. And my grandfather had farmed it, Black Angus. I was always would have, because there was no other cow than Black Angus. That's all I ever heard. And the first time that I had to chase one of those cows down the street in my nightgown, I decided I wanted to plant grapes. I was going to be a grape farmer, because I couldn't catch that cow for loving her money. But I think that there's honor in what you're doing, and there's honor, and you're right. Every farmer has to plan for the future, because again, we're doing all this hard work because we don't want to see farming die, and we need to make sure that we lay the foundation for what's going to happen if the people behind us don't want to continue this. Now, I know my son wants to continue what I'm doing, but what about the generation behind him?
Yeah.
So you have to think about that, you know, because it's really about setting the foundations, and you're right. So, and you guys have had your share of struggles, and people don't understand that when you buy into this, there's a lot of debt, and it's not just all about money. It's paying money, so it's hard to work off of just the income, because this farm took 10 years to produce the first dime.
Yeah, and we're planning for that. I mean, we've planned the 3-year, the 5-year, and the 10-year plan in the return, and right now, the goal is to get to zero, where it nets zero. And I think that's also what people don't understand. And it's not just in an entity like ours where we have so much financial overhead. It's even in, long-standing farm operations. The money goes back to the farm.
Yeah.
Yep.
All the time.
Amen.
There's always something. There's
something that breaks.
There's something that breaks.
Something that dies.
The baler is down again.
Yeah.
Or your dad's
Gotta
bush
put
hogged that
irrigation
tree.
in.
Yeah. So I make that joke because I'm sure, hopefully he watches this, but my dad is notorious for breaking everything. So it's money. It just turns right back into itself. And
I just got the skid steer out of the shop because in the middle of the field, it just broke down.
Yeah.
And we have to have it.
You have to have it.
Can't just go out and buy a new one and say, oh, that one keeps breaking down. No, that's not an option.
No, you're going to fix the one you have. Yeah.
But the one good thing that really, I know, financially, I understand that can be the most painful aspect of it, but you have to admit, sometimes the farm dates and having moments that you guys probably capture on the farm there's no financial transaction that I think could pay for that. My best dates with my husband are on the farm.
every time.
You know, except when we're loading animals, I will say, I do need to wear a shirt that says, I'm sorry for what I said while we were loading animals,